My best friend convinced my wife I was cheating on her, and they both got angry when they realized I was not cheating. My wife and I had a baby last December. It was a traumatic birth, and my wife developed postpartum depression. She has been going to therapy weekly. With my wife home full-time after the traumatic birth, I've had to work increased hours. This is something we discussed prior to making the decision for her to stay home, and she knew this from the start. A few weeks ago, my boss approached me about a project that would require a lot of overtime in a short amount of time. It would both be great financially and for my career. I talked to my wife about it, and she agreed that I should say yes to my boss. For the 4 weeks I'd be working on this, my mother-in-law and her best friend Jessie would come help out with some of the duties that I typically do. Jessie is a stay-at-home mom with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. She began coming over during the day and would watch the kids with my wife. My wife while I focused on the home renovation project I'd started. 3 weeks into the project, it became clear we'd need more time. I discussed this with my wife, who agreed, but became noticeably distant afterward. During the final week, I came home to find Jessie still at our house. After greeting them, I went to check on our daughter when I overheard Jessie say, "He doesn't even stop to greet you." Definitely a sign. When I questioned this, my wife broke down crying while Jessie accused me of having an affair, claiming I resented my wife's PPD and weight gain from pregnancy. Jessie demanded to see my phone, which I refused, prompting her to declare this proof of guilt. I offered to let my wife check it instead, which she did, finding nothing. Jessie then claimed I deleted evidence. Becoming so loud, she woke our daughter. I ordered her to leave, then comforted our child while my wife remained crying on the couch. Later, my wife admitted she'd been worried about my overtime hours, finding the extended project suspicious despite our prior agreement about the opportunity. I showed her work messages, emails, and pay stubs as evidence. She apologized, explaining that Jessie had convinced her these were signs of infidelity. I asked why she trusted Jessie over me and why she hadn't voiced her concerns directly. She had no real answer. After the project ended, I scaled back my hours to spend more time with my family. A few days later, I told my wife I was going to find a therapist, not connecting it to her accusations, but simply stating I needed help. She responded indifferently. The next day, I returned home to find our bedroom and office ransacked, papers scattered everywhere, and our daughter alone and crying. My wife was gone with her phone off. While waiting for my mother to arrive so I could search for her, my wife returned, with Jessie driving. My wife entered alone, visibly upset, and when I asked what happened, she accused me of using therapy as a cover to meet a mistress. As I tried calming her, she attacked me, breaking my nose. Realizing what she'd done, she sat down in a catatonic state. I locked myself in our daughter's room, called my mom, and asked my mother-in-law to come care for my wife. When my mother arrived, I took our daughter and left. After getting medical attention, we stayed with my parents while my wife went to her parents. I began pursuing a restraining order against Jessie and initiated a separation, documenting everything in case of custody issues. Though heartbroken, I knew this wasn't truly my wife but her illness, and I needed to protect our daughter while giving my wife space to recover. My in-laws planned to get her inpatient treatment. Tragically, before that could happen, my wife took her own life early Monday morning. The night before, she had come to my parents' house demanding our daughter. I refused, but offered supervised time instead, which she declined before leaving upset. Hours later, she ended her life, leaving a note accusing me of infidelity. The day after, Jessie visited, initially trying to attack me before breaking down. She informed me she planned to speak at the funeral with my in-laws' blessing. I objected, but my in-laws insisted she be allowed to speak given their long history. Despite knowing she had contributed to my wife's deteriorating mental health and had picked up my wife while leaving our daughter alone, I worried about damaging my relationship with my in-laws during this fragile time. At the funeral, Jessie delivered what appeared to be a beautiful speech to those unaware of her actions. When my turn came, I exposed everything she had done, revealing how she had portrayed herself as caring while actually contributing to my wife's sewer slide. This created an intensely dark atmosphere. Afterward, Jessie and my in-laws bombarded me with calls. Jessie even showed up at my house the next day, yelling and trying to force her way in until I called the police. I'm now considering a restraining order. After everything that's happened, I need to protect myself and move forward. The emotional toll has been overwhelming, but I know this is the right decision for my well-being.